Hey, this is Andrew Brown from the AWS Cloud Project Bootcamp bringing you another video. And this time we're going to try to debug that one issue we were having with our database, the migrations, because that's going to be a problem if we don't fix that, because we're going to keep running into that integer error. So what I want to do is go ahead and run our DB setup. And I just want to see what happens here. So we'll go DB setup. Okay. And in here, it's only running 2 migrations, so that looks correct to me. I remember before we saw 4 values there. Maybe it's okay and it'll work fine this time around, but I'm not 100% sure. We're going to go open up this tab, and it is showing our data. Now, I am noticing that there is a bit of a delay for when it does render that. I'm not really sure why there's a delay, because it should be extremely fast. Again, I don't use React as my main framework, so maybe there's something that I just simply don't know. But I'm going to go over here, and I just cannot imagine the queries being that slow. So I'm going to refresh this here. Hold on here. And yeah, I don't really understand why there is this weird delay in the beginning. So that would be something that we'd have to go analyze later, but it really should be instantaneous, in my opinion, really. Or at least when I use frameworks, it's usually pretty quick. So that might be something that we would we might need to analyze, but really that might be outside of the scope of this bootcamp. But if you are good at React, go ahead and share your knowledge there. But anyway, my concern right now is the fact that, I'm just going to log in here, is that we have that one problem when we are replying to a post. So I want to see if that still is a problem. So we'll go here and say, here is my new message. Okay, and so that's erroring out, and the reason why is because of that one issue there. So if we go back over to our backend Flask here and we view the logs, we'll see what the problem is. I mean, it's not showing a problem, but we know there is a problem. So I'll go back over here, give this a refresh. Let's try this again. And I'll go back over here to Crutter. And so it should be logging a problem there. Now it isn't. Maybe there is a JavaScript error first that we're running into. So I'm just going to go ahead and expand this. Now we did do a major refactor, so it wouldn't be a surprise if there was a problem. And it is. There's a problem with the payload data. So I'm going to go here and do a reply form, JS. And I'm going to look for where that payload data is being set. We just don't have the constant in front of it. That's the problem. And we might have that problem in a few other places. While we're here, I'm just going to check a couple other places to see if I made that mistake anywhere else. So just form up here, and we'll go to the .js here, activity form. No, I don't think so. But anyway, I guess we'll find out as we work through this here. Anyway, so I'll go here and try to do a reply. And we get an error. That's okay. And so this is that error we had before where it was the mistypes. Invalid input syntax for type integer on line 53. And so if we go connect to our database here, and we say describe activities, it's supposed to be switching this over to a UUID, and so for some reason it's not. One thing we can do is go ahead and debug this. So what I want to do is I want to do a rollback here, and so we'll do that on a new tab. We'll see if we can just roll back 1, db rollback, and so this is rolled back exactly 1. But interestingly, it's dropping the bio, so it's almost like it's in the wrong spot. So I'm a bit confused what's going on there, because it shouldn't be rolling back from that point. It should be rolling back from the latest point. So all I'll do is go ahead and do a migrate here. And what it's saying here is, let's see what it says. Cannot cast integer to UUID. So it's saying that this is just not possible, which is kind of interesting. So maybe the solution isn't to drop it. So maybe what happens is that it errors out and it just doesn't tell us, right? So, when we ran it there, maybe that's what happened, is that it actually errored out and never completed, and that's why it's not working. And so we're just not aware of that migration failing. So that just could be the issue with the fact that we're running migrations within our setup. So that's probably the reason why. So what I'll do is go over to that migration file, because clearly that's the problem. The first one's running, the second one's not. And so it can't do this thing. So maybe we'll just drop the column. So say alter table, drop column, activity UID. The only problem with this is the fact that we already have existing data. But we actually haven't really been doing any of these replies right now, so it shouldn't really actually be a problem. So we will go ahead and we will drop this column, and then we will go ahead and go back and add this column and say what type it is, and this would be UUID. I think that's the syntax it's supposed to be. I'm going to go up, go check here, alter add column PSQL. And I think it's just you follow the data type here. This is kind of the structure of it. So I'm looking for that add here. So we have add column somewhere in here. Add column if not exists, column name, data type. And so that's what we did. We have the data type right after that. So that should work as expected. And then when we want to roll back, if we want to put it back into its original state, we'd say drop this and then make an integer. And so that's just another way of doing it. But you could lose data doing this, because if you were running them, you'd have to migrate that data. So what normally you would do is you would actually go ahead and you would run each of these individually. So you would, for the migration, you would run like dropping the column or adding a new column. So you'd probably add an additional column, migrate it. Then what you would do is you would, anyway, it would just be a multi-step process. But because of the state of our data right now, I'm not really too worried about it. So just be aware of that, okay? So what we'll do is go ahead and do migrate. And so now it's altering the table correctly. We'll go ahead and hit up. And so that resolved our issue. So now we should be in good shape. So I can just do a quit on that. And I'll go here and just say fix migration. But, it is a side effect, or it is one small problem, is the fact that our migration doesn't tell us that it fails. So, yeah, I'm not sure what to do about that right now, but we haven't really hooked those up in post action. So, like on the deploy. So right now we just manually do it. Anyway, what I want to do here is I want to go ahead and try this reply. And so we still get a internal server error. So let's go take a look at what the problem is this time around, unless it's the same problem. And so here it's saying what? Well, I'm not seeing an error, so that's says 200. So is that error superficial and wrong? Let's go over here to network tab. Let's try this again. Reply. It came back 200, so it's actually okay. The data is fine, but for some reason it's erroring out because it's hitting an error in the JavaScript. So that one is actually misleading. There is no internal server error. It's actually a client-side JavaScript error. So let's go over to our forms, our error forms. Form errors. And or you know what? It's in our request. It's in request, sorry. And I'm just trying to think if there's any way we can make that error a little bit better, because what's happening is that try catch is happening, right? And so it's catching an error in here. And then it's just applying a generic error. So it goes here, and if it's not null, then it does 500. So again, this is not the best way to do it. I think the problem is that we can't really detect the status code, and I really want to know if the error is a network response problem, and so we don't have a solution here. So this is still really misleading. So when we see that, then there's not really an internal server error. It's just a JavaScript error. So it says cannot read properties of undefined push. So if we go to our reply form, JS here, and we go to here, it's saying the push doesn't work here, okay? And it can't push against replies that don't work because we did remove that from there. The question is, how does Twitter work? So if I go over to Twitter, and let's say I just reply to somebody in their feed, does it show it inline? You want to know the biggest tech gain their tens of thousands of followers? AstroTurfing the key. So I said, oh, I did not know that. So I go here. Oh, but I had to click in to do it. So if I click here. Okay, so I can click there. Hold on here. So if I click here. Oh, I did not know that. And then I click this. What does it do? Sending tweet. Okay, so it never shows it on the page. And there's a bunch of other UI things that it's doing. Something that progress bar, that sending thing. I'm not sure we're going to do that all today, but those are definitely nice things that we can check out. But yeah, let's go take a look at that. Anyway, so now that we know that those UI changes, we don't necessarily need to push it here. It doesn't really make sense to do that. So here, let's just read what this does. So JSON parse, JSON stringify activities. So we get a deep copy of it. And then we find the element and then we push onto it. So we don't need to do any of that. We can just, well, hold on. It depends. So like this reply form right now, it really depends if we're on the show page or on this page here, because if it's a pop-up, that's a different story than if it's inline. So that's something that we're going to have to consider. And also, I guess the question is, if we're here, then where does it show up? So if I'm here and I click into this, I can just reply inline right there. Okay, so, you know, those are a couple considerations, but for the time being, I'm not going to delete this. I'm just going to comment it out because I think that when we go implement it in the show page, that it might be a little bit different. And then here it's resetting this. So I don't think we're going to be doing that. So I'll just save that there and we'll refresh this. Okay, and I'll go here and then I'll write this here. All right, and so that's there. This should increment by 1 after it does that. So that might be something we want to do. It depends on what props are being passed here. I kind of wish I knew what props are being passed. I didn't have to go up a level. But the in the activity item, there's the activity and it has a count. And so we want to increment that once. So I'm just trying to think the best way to do that. So if we go into, yeah, see, I really wish that we had a way to do like counts in a better way. So if we just refresh this, does it show that count? It doesn't, but I know it's there. Anyway, so I want to go here. So that clicks onto the name. Just notice here, we go to this element here, inspect, that this goes full size here. And I really don't want that whole area clickable. At least I don't think I do. If I go here, yeah, it's really just the names here that are clickable, these 3 elements, and they don't expand all the way. So what we'll do is we'll go back into our activity item here. JS. And we'll have to change this a little bit. And this would be, I guess, activity content. Okay. And then if we go down here, we don't want to link them all like that. We want to link them individually. So it is still metadata. But each of these, we really want them to be links. So where's the avatar? The avatar's up there. I wonder if we could just change this over to links like this. Link. And this will be link. I'm just going to take off this, change this to a div, change that to a div. Yeah, there's that example of commenting. I wish we did that more in the app because it's kind of annoying figuring out what is what in this application. Link. Okay. And yeah, so that one's up there. And so now what we need is this everywhere. So I'm going to just cut this out, cut this here. And then I'm just going to go here and paste this in. We'll say allow. And we'll go here. We'll paste this in here. And we'll go ahead and grab this. We'll say copy. And I'll paste that in there. And so that's going to give us probably the more desired behavior. Now we might need to rework some of the CSS. Yes, we do. It doesn't look as nice. And I'm going to go to, if it's up here, we get to it here. We can. And so we do have that activity identity. But what we want to do is just make this a div. And for all these A links here, I want to get that text decoration off of it, like that. Okay, and then we want these to be like display block or something else. Because they're all inline, right? And so we need them to act like actual proper text. So that's now working a little bit better. I want the colors to actually look like how they're supposed to look here. And so these just need to be switched out to div. It's actually surprising how well we've been doing without using any Sass. And I don't mind it because we'll have less problems doing it that way. But I noticed over here that they do give an underline for that. So, and this also kind of like fades, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, I'll do that for just the display name. We'll, when we hover over it, we will give it a text decoration underline for that. Okay. There we go. And, you know, I could do that as well here. I'd have to change the opacity, but I'm not going to fiddle with that. So now this area still thinks it's clickable. Let me see here. And it might be because it's these are display. So instead of having to, block, I'll make them inline block. And I'll see if that fixes that issue there. So it depends if they're all flex on the inside. No, so this will be block. But I think this identity here is flex. Well, the meta is, let's go in here for a moment. Let's refresh this. And so I want to inspect here for just a moment. And so I still don't want these to be full size like that. I want them to be smaller. I thought it should have been inline block here. Inline block. It could be like clear both. Not exactly doing what I want it to do. Another thing we could do is we could use, make that, this here, we could use flex inside of this. So we'll say display flex. And then here we would just shrink them. So we'd say flex size or flex shrink 1. Sometimes it's 1, times it's 0. I always forget what it's supposed to be for when you want it as small as it's absolute. But we'll go back over here. We do want these to be display blocks, so that's fine. I want these to be flex direction, flex direction. And this will be column. There's like a shorthand for flex, but I definitely don't know how to do it. I just know how to write all the commands. And so it's still doing what I don't want it to do, which is stretch. I do not want it to stretch. So I could go here and try 0. No, it's still doing what I don't want it to do. Another thing we could do is we could try and do like align items, flex, start. And there we go. That's what I wanted. Okay, so we'll go here and we'll say align items, and not just start, but flex start, because I learned that the hard way. Well, not the hard way, but it just threw a bunch of errors we didn't want to see. So we'll go here. And so now this is working how we want it to do. And the idea is this back area, we can make that clickable. So if we go here, it doesn't show that it's clickable, but how do you click into this? Oh, we got to go back one here, sorry. And so it's this whole back area with the exception of those. Even if you click this, well, that should make the image bigger. That's right. And yeah, so that is a little bit different. But notice that this is probably shared in our other one, and it won't be clickable when we go into the show page. So I want this to be clickable, so it actually goes into that. And I'm curious what we do for the show page. I don't know if we even coded the show page yet. Show. Show. I don't think that exists yet, does it? Just goes to show how much I've coded in before we started this, but hey, it's all good learning, right? And so what I'm looking for here is like activity show. Yeah, so we don't have that yet, which is totally fine. But what I'm going to do here, because we'll have to rework this, but I'm just trying to look here and figure out what area of this should be clickable, because it seems like quite a bit of that area is clickable. Because you go down here, anywhere you're not clicking a button, it seems like that would trigger that, right? So if I went and changed this to a link, I don't know if that's a mistake. Link, and then we said, now where this would go is this is going to go to a particular activity. So if we click into this, it's the person's name, status, and then that. So does it still have the @ sign? Doesn't. But I think that's just what I did. I just like having that @ sign there because then you have less problems when routing. We don't have to have the @ sign. I just think it's better to have it in there. And so here what we want to have is a plus. And why are we using backticks here if we're not going to do interpolation? That's silly. So we'll do interpolation like that. And so then I can do status. And then the idea is that we will have the activities UUID, okay? And so we need to figure out if it's going to override the ones on top of it to the right area. And so this is a bit complaining, expected corresponding, etc. Something's missing here. Oh, right down below here. So we'll just put that in here as such. We'll give this a refresh. And we'll see if our click zones are where we think they're supposed to be. So just close this out for a moment because it should show up down below what it would click. Okay. And actually, it's not extending down to here, which is kind of okay. But activity content wrap. So I want to go back over here. It's not just the content, it's actually the whole item pretty much. So what we'll do is we'll go back over to activity item. And I mean, we have those replies there, but basically this is not where we're supposed to put them. So this refactor, we have activity main, is actually kind of useless because, and it's also spelt wrong too. You probably noticed that, and I just didn't. But the thing is that that's going to definitely change because we don't want to have the replies here, apparently. So I guess what we want to do is make the whole area clickable. So we'll go back over to our activity content here, and we'll go find this link here. This is going to go back to a div. This is no longer a div. That makes no sense. We'll make this a link. HTML does not like it when you have divs inside of links, but we're going to do it anyway because I don't see how else we would do that. Not easily, that's for sure. So I want to go ahead and grab this too. Cut that out. And instead, we're going to place it here. And I'll go back over here. And I just want to take that out of there. And so this is supposed to have a curly to finish that off. Okay, and so now it's over here. Let's go take a look and see how it works. Link is not defined. Okay, we need to import link. We'll save that. We'll go back here, refresh. And so that's correct. Yeah, and so I don't want it to trigger this when we click into these, right? So it should not happen when we click those. And so we'll have to look at those actions. So if we go into our reply here, and we do that on click, we have to do event prevent default, event prevent default, we'll do return false, and that should possibly stop it from triggering the events. So we'll go refresh that here. If I go do this, notice it didn't do it. So that's what we needed to put in there. And so we'll need to do that for all of these actions. Okay, so we'll do that for that one. How do I know? I've just been doing this for years. Don't ask, just do. Okay. So we'll put that one in there and the like as well. Okay. And so now it's kind of acting the way we want it to act, which is great. I do want to improve the styling here. So we'll go into here, and for activity item, if it is an A tag, because maybe we'll have one that is a div and maybe we'll have one that's not. But if it is, and it is right now, an anchor, that's what the A stands for. We want to have text decoration none, because that's pretty ugly. The other thing is that it's not really overriding any of the fonts. That's totally fine. But we definitely want to do that. Okay, so that's a bit better. And then we want to add a bit of a background to it. So say background, RGBA, 255, 255, 255, 0.15. And see if we can do that as kind of like way of shading it. We must have introduced a problem here. It's highlighting it wrong, so it doesn't like something. But I really want that to only happen on the hover. So I'll go here and we'll just do that on the hover. We'll make our way back over here. Okay. And so that looks fine to me. I'm not sure how you feel about that. Just kind of checking out these. It just goes around those, which looks a little bit nicer. This is kind of a bit of a mess. But so that's starting to look how we want it to be and also act the way we want it to act. So the next thing is to have a page when we click into here. So we'll have to go onto the left-hand side here, and we'll need a new page. I'm just making sure this page doesn't already exist. So we have home page, feed, message group, recover. I'm going to make a new file here. I'm going to call it activity show. Activity show. ACTIVITY show JS. We will also need that for here again, and we'll do CSS. Okay, we'll go over here. We'll paste that in as such. This will be called activity show. And we are building out a page, so we'll definitely want that. Actually, a page we should build off of is maybe the home page feed. Because it's going to have a lot of the same elements, but there is some things that are going to be different. So go ahead and we'll copy that. And we will paste this in here. And I just want to close all here so I can get back my space. And so these make sense. The activity feed, it's not an activity feed because we're just showing one element here. So we don't need that. I mean, we still want people to write activities anywhere, I suppose. So I guess we need that there. The reply form, we definitely need that. And so this all looks fine. This is not activities. It's more so like replies is what we're going to have here. This will be activity show page. And I'm actually going to fix these names here because it should say page on the end based on how we've been doing it this entire time. It might seem redundant to put the word page, but it does make it easier to search. So I don't know. It's up to you what you want to do. But anyway, we'll go down here. And so a lot of this is the same, but what's going to be different here is we need to have a replies feed or the replies. And so we have these replies in our activity feed. So we can make a new component here. It's not really a feed, it's just replies, to be honest. So I don't think we already have an element called replies, do we? No, we do not. So we'll make a new component here. We'll say replies JS. And we'll also need a replies CSS. And we'll just split this here for a moment. And so we'll go to the JS here. We'll bring this over to here. Replies. I suppose we could borrow from the activity form, activity feed here. There we go. So I'll go ahead and just grab this really quickly. Yeah, it looks like that's correct. I'm not sure if we have one called replies item because all it is activities, right? That's what's inside of it. But in an activity item, we do have the replies. So I'm just going to go into activity item, JS. And this is where we have this reply stuff. So, I mean, we don't really need to bring this over in the same way. I mean, some of these things do matter, but if we look at this, activity item is fine. Activity feed is fine. This should be called replies. And this will be replies. And yeah, I mean, it'd still be a primer. So we say replies primer. And we'll just kind of follow this similar convention here. It's just going to be replies. But in here, we're still using activity. In fact, we could leave this the same name, and then we don't have to do so much styling. Okay. So that looks fine to me. But some of the properties here might be different. So I'm just going to bring this onto the next line to just see what's different here. Because something's going to be different. Set pop. The only difference is this says reply and this one says activity. So yeah, I think that's the same. So that's totally fine. So I think what we can do now is we can rip this out. This was totally useless and wrong. But hey, I'm learning as we go. Okay, so we'll take that out there. And yeah, so that's going to be our replies. I know it works basically the same thing as an activity, but we should probably separate it out just in case it changes. I mean, I'm almost tempted to make this a reply item and just duplicate the activity item, but maybe we'll just do the reusability for the time right now. We do have the styling up here for activity feed. I'm not sure why that's there. We'll just take that out. But anyway, so now we can go to our activity show page. And so instead of that feed, we'll just change it to replies. So we'll say replies, replies. We'll go down here. It's already been changed to replies. Perfect. We need to go ahead and update our routing here. So in here, we'll have one for replies, or sorry, for the show page. And it's similar to this, except that we are going to have status. And then we have a UUID. I'm going to just make it very explicit and say this is an activity UUID. Then we know exactly what it is, and there's no question about it. And then here, we'll just change this out to activity show page. And we'll go to the top here, and we'll bring that in here. This will be activity show page. And we'll go here and do activity show page. All right, so there it's being added. We need to update this query so that it can go ahead and fetch the data it needs. This is not right. We want this to be @ and then dollars and then status and then this. And so I believe this would be params handle. And then we have params activity UUID. Did we name it UI handle or was it just, yeah, it's still handle. So that's perfect. And so that should get us the values we are expecting there. We do need to get params, so we do need to bring that in there. We can get that from one of these other pages. I'm not sure, a message group probably. Use params, so we'll do that. And bring that in here. And use params gets called somewhere here. Yeah, we just do that. And so You can paste that in there. And so hopefully that will do what we want. Here's trying to set activities. But we're not just setting activities, we're setting the replies and we're setting the activity. So there's going to be one main activity. So we'll say activity and set activity. And so here we would have set replies. That would be our replies data. And we have set activity, and that would be our activity. Okay. And then we're supposed to have the activity rendered above. So what we can do here is go and import that. So we'll say import activity item from components, activity item. And then we can go here. This should be just empty like this. Maybe not, maybe it should be null. And so above this, we need to have our activity item. And yeah, we don't need to do it that way. And we do have activity items somewhere here. We're just doing that in our replies. So I'll go ahead and just grab this. And I'll just replace it like that. And I don't know if that action bar shows up when you're in a post here. Like if I click into this one, yeah, it still shows it here, but it's already open. So you can click that, and I guess it still opens up the same way, which is a bit interesting. But props set popped, we don't need it to do it that way. We can just take that and place that there. And then same thing here. There's no props on that. Okay, and so that's going to give us our activity item. We need to hook up the endpoint. I realize I'm doing a lot of stuff without testing, but you know, I have a lot of confidence to go fix and debug it. You might want to stop and test each part as you do it. But yeah, the more confidence you get about all this stuff, the more it's like this. Anyway, so we're going to go over to our routes, and we're going to go over to activities because we need a new route here just for our activities show page. Now the question is, should this be in this activities one or the user, because it is specific to the user. And so it's up to you where you'd want to put it. Actually, you know what I think about it? I'm going to put it under the user just because it's specific to the user. And we do already have activities kind of here, so it's kind of okay that we can do that. So I'll bring this one down. I don't need that there. But what we'll do is have status, and then we'll have another one here. This will be string activity UUID. Okay. And then here I want to say activity show. And we can go to the top here, and then we can import that. So we'll say, I'll just do show activities. It's interesting, like sometimes I put the word users in the front or the back. There's some inconsistencies there. I should have been a little bit more careful with that. And so now we need to create ourselves a new service here. So I'll go here and say show activity.py. And what I'm looking for here, we have show activity py. This is under services. As such. Why won't it rename? Come on, it can't be a U. It has to be a Y. Thank you. Already exists. Okay, well, I guess we can't name it that. If it already exists, that's great for us. But we certainly don't have the page for it. Hey, look, we got a bunch of code. That's nice. Sweet. But this is obviously hard-coded, and it has the replies. This one here is not scoped as the activity. So that's something that we'd want to change here. But I'm going to just take this out. And we're going to take a look at the home activities because that might be a little bit similar. Do you need to be authenticated to see this? No. We just need the activity UUID. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to just copy this and paste it in. And so the difference here is it's going to be activities show. And we do need to pass along the Cognito user ID. What's interesting here is we pass this here, but it doesn't do anything with it. And so I did want to say that we would have conditional data based on your stuff. But right now, the homepage is the homepage for everyone, I guess. It doesn't really change the context. But, you know, if you had an algorithm, you'd probably do something different here. But right now, it's the same. So that whole check that we do there is kind of useless. But whatever. So, and actually probably on Twitter, every time you go to a show page, I wonder if it's contextual based on who's looking at it. But anyway, we have our show page here and we need to pass in that data. So I believe the way we do it is this way. It's been a little bit of time here since we've done it last. We'll do activity UUID. Actually, I'll just call it UUID here, and this will be activity UUID. So this should pass it in. We might have already written the query. I can't remember if we did or not. So we'll go into our SQL, wherever that is. And let's go here, our show page. And so we already have it here. The only thing is that we want this information to be in an object, and this one's obviously an array. So we'll go back over to our db.py where we have those helpers, those wraps. And we'll go grab these two lines. We want that one, and we want this line here. Okay. We don't need the semicolon on the end there. But that's because those are the final wrappers, and I'm going to call this activity, and we'll put a comma there. And then I'll indent this. And so now that should give us the structure that we are looking for the output. Okay. We'll go back over here, give this a refresh. I'm expecting to see problems. We go here, activity show is not found. Maybe we just forgot to name it or I spelt it wrong. Probably the latter, but we will go over here and take a look. I'm looking for activity show. Oh, maybe that's under the page. Activity show page. What is it looking for? Activity show. So probably it's just missing the word page on that. Great, and we'll refresh this here. And so now we're not getting, well, we are not seeing any data though. So we have some kind of problem going on. Let's go to our network tab. There is a problem with the home page. No module name services show activities. So let's just make sure we name that right. We also might not be able to just add them just like that. This one's called show activity, not show activities. We'll call it show activity. So I'll go back over to our routes for our users.py. And in here, we're going to just fix this as show activity. And we'll go back and refresh this. If I go down here, cannot import show activity from show activity. And of course, it could be that I spelt it wrong. That's something that I commonly do. I notice that this isn't highlighting, so I must have not spelt this correctly. Show activity, act I viti, act I viti. Oh, did I do it the other way? I wrote activity show as opposed to show activity. Okay, great. Is that still a problem? We still have a problem. Let's go into the actual file here, which is up here. Not even consistent whatsoever in all the names here. Let's go back over here, give this a refresh. Still a problem. So view function mapping is overriding existing endpoint. Yeah, we got to be careful when we name these handles. So this one is data handle. This is really not data handle. This is like users show. This is users activities. This one here is data show activity. Okay. Could have also called it route in the front here. We'll refresh that here. We'll go back. View function mappings over any existing endpoint. Show activities. Where? In app.py. Did we maybe already write this endpoint? I'm just writing it twice for no reason. Could be. Let's go over here. And let's carefully look here. Right here. So we actually already have this endpoint. So apparently, yeah, we already wrote it. Okay. Well, whatever. We'll just move it over. I thought we had, maybe we did implement it. I just, it wasn't implemented on the front end. That's all. So I'll go here and paste this in below. I just don't know if this is correct. Yeah, so this one's different. See, it's just activities and then the string. And I suppose that we could do that. It really just depends on how we want to organize it. So if you did do it this way, it doesn't have the name in the URL, but the page would still render it out. And so it really is a choice to which how we want to do it. Maybe I'll just stick with the way that Twitter's doing it. I don't see any reason why not. Because then if people are up here, they can clear it out and get back to the user really easily. So for people that like to work with URLs, that's probably a better thing. And I can click into here. So set activities is not defined. That's totally fine. So we'll go over to our activity show page here. And somewhere it's complaining about setting activities. Oh, I want to go to our, no, that's the right page, right? So we have set activity here, activity, what was it complaining about? Set activities does not exist, which is here. And I mean, I don't need that in the form. Well, you do if you want to update that. That's true. That would be there. For the reply form, not anymore. So the reply form, we decided that it's not going to work that way. So for the reply form, we're going to take these two things out. The reply form also appears on the homepage. So we'll go over to our homepage here. And our reply form does not need these anymore. We do not use them. But this activities form definitely seems to want one, but there's nowhere for it to push to, right? So I think this is where we might want this to be conditional. So if it's not there, then it's going to be a pop-up and it's just going to have a message. So I'm going to take this out here because we don't have a set activities. That's not going to work on our show page. And then down below here, it says activities, activities. This is not true. This is going to be replies and then replies. Okay, we'll go back over here, give this a refresh. Undefined UUIDs. So a UUID is being set somewhere here. On line 63. Here. Activity item. Sure. But I mean, if it hasn't rendered yet, then I guess the data wouldn't be there. So I'm just trying to think about this for a second. I guess what we could do is just take that outside of there and only when the data is loaded, then do it. So we can go here and just say if what? Activity does not equal null. Then we'll just go here. So we'll say activity EL activity. And then we can just have that set there. And that will solve that issue. Okay. Right, so, hopefully this if else statement is going to work. We don't need double around here, so that's just kind of a mistake. And so what we'll do is go back over here, get this a refresh. And I mean, it's rendering now, so we're having less problems. Seems like the network is failing here, so maybe there's a issue. Drag this over, cores, proof request. If we go up here, should work as expected. The frustrating part is it's not showing all of our queries, and I don't know why it's doing that. It's very, very annoying here today. I'm going to give this a refresh here. Request.js failed to fetch at request. Why? So it went down to here, which is fine. Over here we have API, Andrew Brown. Well, there's supposed to be a / here, so that's probably what's happening. We have a routing issue. So we'll go over to activity show, wherever the routes are. Activities, wherever that show is. It's in users. You know what? It's our URL. That's what it is. It's not on this side. It's in the JavaScript. So we'll go back over here, and we're just missing the / here. Okay, so that makes sense. We'll go back and give this a refresh. And we'll refresh that one more time. Sometimes it doesn't take effect right away, and that's why I'm doing that. I'm looking for the URL here. I'm going to double check. So it is now doing it correctly. So Andrew Brown / status. It's failing cores again. Do we have a cores check on this? Maybe that's our problem. If we go over to our users, Pi. Yeah, it's not doing cross-origin check. So we'll go here. Now here's the thing is that not all of our requests have to be authenticated. So yeah, let me think about that. So the thing is, like, our home page, you can be authenticated or you don't have to be. Our show page, you definitely don't need to be authenticated for. And so this is just a case in our code where, you know, do we want to pass the authorization token or not? And in this case, we don't need to have an authorization token, or we could have it where it could have a default. But it's interesting because our activities homepage doesn't even need an alternate, but it just happens to have it. So what I'm going to do here is go to our applies.js and modify this so that we can have it so that if we don't want to requests.js, that if we don't want to do access token, we don't have to. And so how would we do this? Because it is a little bit of a headache having all these options here. We have method, URL, payload, data, set errors. I think what I will do here, because I just don't want to have to update these, but what I'll do here is I will have an option here for options, I guess. So I'm just kind of getting tired of, say, options, and we'll just do curlies here like this. And so up here, I'm going to have options. And so the idea is that if we want to authorize them, we can. So if options no auth is true, then I guess maybe if auth is true, then it should do this. And also for this, I'm just going to go up ahead here, bring this above. And then here what we would do is we would say attribs, headers, and then we would set this one, the authorization one here, authorization. It was about to type it for me and I just took it out of there for no reason. I'll just cut this out. We'll bring this down here. We'll paste this in. And so that's how we will bring that in there. And so then we'll go down to our auth here and we'll just say auth is true. And same thing here. Auth is true. Auth is true. And so since this one does not require auth, and most seem to actually need it, not all of them, because when we do our sign in and sign up pages, those actually don't need auth. Now that I'm thinking about it. So, you know, maybe we should be providing, I hate updating these, but maybe we should be providing that here, the ops, and specifying whether it needs it or not. That's a bummer. So now I'm going to search through all of this. We'll say edit, find in files, and we'll have get, parentheses, because not all of these need to have that there. I almost kind of want to move the set errors in there as well, but yeah, I think that's another thing that we could do is we could put this into the ops or the options. We know what ops means. Well, we'll just call it options here, I guess. Options, and then we'll do options here. And then I can go down here and do that down here as well. So we'll say options. Options. We could also do that for the success as well. Because then it would be more of an explicit success. So I think that's something that I'll do as well. I'm going to actually do that. We'll take this out. We'll take this out. I'll go down below here. And we'll just replace this with options. Okay, so now we have our options set here. We're going to go all the way to the top. And even that success can be in options. All right, so now I'll have to go back and update all of these again. So it's just how it goes when we're working through this stuff. And so we're in our get here. And so the null doesn't need to be there, but what we'll do is we will have our curlies here, and this one's going to be success. And it'll be like that. So we can just bring this down here like this. And then bring that down like that. Okay, and then if we need auth, then we can say whether we need it or not. So this page is the activity show page. Yeah, and just to be explicit, I'm going to say false, just so we know that it is, but we don't actually have to put that in there like that. So that is set there. We'll go to our next one. And we'll just keep doing that. So we'll go down a new line here. We'll bring this in. This will be our options. So we'll go here and put a parentheses like that. And we'll bring this up and we'll just say success. And we'll indent that as such. I'll bring this up a line. And we'll just say auth true. And we'll just be explicit to where we need it. So this is the homepage feed. So we do check for it, even though we actually don't use it. But this one has a fallback for that, so that's okay. We'll go to the next one here. Similar thing. So this is going to have a curly. Come on, curly, thank you. And then this will be success. And then we'll indent it like that. And this will be auth true, because most of them are true. There we go. These are not fun to type, that's for sure. We'll go to the next one. Same story. Auth true. Comma there, great. Not sure why this one's complaining. Maybe we missed the comma here. Doesn't look like we did. But there's something wrong here because this has a little problem here. So, I mean, this one is here. Oh, it's a parentheses that we want here. So we take that one out. Oh, like that. What is going on here? Okay, curly, parentheses. Oh, curly here maybe? There we go. Did I mess up this one then? No, that one's right. Is this one messed up? No, that one's right too. So we did this one, and then we did that one. We'll go to our next one here. And hopefully that's the last time we change that, the requests. But here we need to have this here. And we'll bring this down, success. Auth equals true, comma, curly. There we go. We'll go to the next one here. So curly, success. Bring this one in here and then go like that. This one's going to have an auth true, comma. We'll go to our user feed page. So now the user feed page is interesting because you technically don't need to be logged in for this. And it actually might be conditional based on what you're doing. So let's make our way over to, split this one more time. I want to go take a look here at this. This would be a users pi. And if we take a look at this one, it's only passing in the handle. So it's not doing anything in here that requires you to be logged in. Well, that's the short, actually. I shouldn't say that. But this one is the user activities page. And again, this one's only passing the handle. So it's not logging in for any reason. So we can put a false on this one too. And that one might need to be conditional because, you know, if you are logged in and it's you, then you, I don't know. We'll figure that one out when we get to it, I guess. But right now, I think that one doesn't require it. We'll go. That's not what I wanted to do. I'm not trying to run any Python. I'm just trying to get to my other tabs here. Yeah, there we go. And so here we'll have our curly. Success. And we'll bring this in here and we'll do that. And we'll say auth false because this one does not need to be logged in. Now we need to do our posts. So we'll do post here. Super fun doing this, eh? Here. And so this one does need to set errors. So if there are ones for set errors, we have to bring those in. Set errors, errors. Success here. Auth true. Need to bring that in here and then put this here. There we go. So that one's fixed. We'll go to our next one. And we'll bring this one down. Call this one success. We'll give this a curly on the end here. Set errors, set errors. Auth is true. And we want to indent this. And then do that. We'll go to our post, same story. But all this repetition is what makes your skills sharp. So this is going to be auth true. Go down below and do that. That's fine there. We'll go and now do our puts. Can you believe we've been doing all this without any test code too? Test code comes later. We don't need it right now. There's only one put, so hopefully that's going to fix that problem there. So we'll go back over here, refresh, and set errors is not a function. Yeah, well then what is it? This is on this page here. So let's go take a look at a request and see what we have. We go to the top here. I'm just going to console log out our requests. We'll go back over here, refresh. It's not requests, it's options, sorry. Give this a refresh here. Auth false success. Options set errors is not a function. On line 6 and 1. Well, I mean, here it has to actually exist. So, does it exist or not? And that's the question. I think what we can do here is just do this. Or we could say like has property. I remember we did this before somewhere here. Property. Yeah, like that. Check if JSON object has a key. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Okay, we'll go back over here and we'll paste this in here. And this is if it has that property. So we'll go here and say that. Set errors. And then the same thing could be said for this over here. So we could say for this, we'll paste that in. So auth, because then by default, I'll just assume that it's not there. And so we have a similar proposition here. So we'll have to go ahead and update those down below. Paste that in here. And we'll paste this in here. Okay. We'll go back over here, see if this takes effect. Auth false success, that's totally fine. Failed to fetch for some reason, that's totally fine. It failed the cores. We don't need cores on it, and that's what we found out. So we'll go back to our users.py, and maybe we added it there. Well, it's not there, so it shouldn't expect cores, that cores thing to be there. But actually, it's saying no module found called lib for Cognito import on users.py line 6. I mean, that's a new one. I was never complaining about that before. It's not cross-origin that we're looking for. It's JWT required. But anyway, it's saying that this lib does not exist, which makes no sense. Anyway, let me think about this, okay? I'm kind of surprised this is happening because it should know where these files are. But I remember when we were doing our bin scripts, we were able to reference things from other locations. And so maybe that's the way we can do it. Maybe I'm supposed to be making that init.py file and it will make all these things easier. I don't know, but I'm going to go ahead and look for where we were using Python scripts because we did this thing here, right? So we would go ahead and import relative to specific directories. So I'll go to the top here and I'm just going to go ahead and paste in. And so the idea is that we have our absolute path and then we want our parent path, and our parent path is actually just one directory up. And so, I mean, this one specifies back in Flask. I'm not sure why it does that, but we really just need to go up one directory. That's all we need to do. And so hopefully, so we can read the lib and service paths. Append back in Flask folder. And so maybe that will resolve that issue there. I'm not sure why, again, that's happening. We'll give this a refresh. Like, why wasn't it only a problem all of a sudden? You know what I mean? It wasn't a problem before. Well, hold on. This might be a misleader here. Yeah, I don't know about this actually now because that was another file that was opened. I don't think that was our problem. Okay, maybe I was just being misled. So go back over here, and we're getting a 404 for the options. So that's this problem. It's saying we can't match this up with what you think it's supposed to be. So it's actually a different problem we have on our hands. And so here it should be API. Oh, this one's API activities. So we'll go back to our show page here, and we'll scroll on down. And I'll just need to put activities in front of this like that. And so that should resolve that issue. We'll give this a refresh. And now we're getting options here. Still 404. I mean, if I don't spell activities right, that's not going to help. So let's make sure that is spelled correctly. Copy here, and I'll go back to our users py just to make sure that's correct. Got unexpected keyword activity UUID. We'll go over to users here. And yeah, so this should be here. Give this a refresh again. Got unexpected keyword handle from data show activity. I mean, we don't need to use it, but we do need to specify it here. So that's probably what it's complaining about. And so we'll go back over here. DB is not defined. That's fine. We'll go into that show activity and add it. Now we have a 500 error. This has to do with the query. So we'll just open the query up, activities show SQL. At least that's where I think it is. It's complaining up here. We're supposed to have a select in here. That's what the problem is. Still a problem. There's something we're supposed to do here to fix this issue. So remember we had this problem before. Let's just click around and see where we use this somewhere else. And then we can see what the fix is. I mean, I definitely know we ran into this problem before. And it was only with this one here. Maybe we needed it 3 more times? Was that the solution? I definitely remember dealing with this. Where was this? Where did we run into this problem? Expected string or, but found that. Maybe it's not supposed to have doubles. Because that looks like that's something we had to do, and I don't think we need doubles there. Let's refresh this here. Yeah, so I think that was something we had to do for whatever reason in the other place, and actually we only need singles here. It says return models not defined. I thought we renamed that to something else. We'll go to our users SQL here, or users py. Oh, it's still called return model. Actually, it's called model JSON, so that's totally wrong. We'll go ahead and update those. That did not paste correctly. And it's supposed to be model JSON. I'm just going to rename it manually. I don't want to have a problem here. Model JSON, wherever else that appears. Yeah, so that's all right. I'm just going to double check the rest of them, making sure that they're been renamed to that. Yes. That one doesn't matter. Okay, we'll go back over to our users before we go check anything else out. Still not working. If errors is not null, list indices must be integers or slices, not string. And that's in our helpers py. So for that one, we're not returning a model for the show activity. It's just data. So in this case, we can just do this. Now, if there was an error, we should have error handling on that, which we still don't. And so now we are getting back data, so that's great. Now we have a rendering issue on the activity show page. It's here on the activity. So it's saying cannot read undefined reading of UUID. What data gets returned here? If we go here, I mean, we do have a UUID there. So that is there. Cannot read properties of undefined. It's not the clearest answer or error, but go into here. Basically, it's playing around the activity show. This activity item, where we pass an activity here. Oh, it does have, there is activity UUID there. We don't need to set a key because there is no, it's not like we're doing anything unique. So maybe that's its complaint. Length is not defined on what? Replies. Okay, what did we return here? It's empty, which is totally fine. Props dot replies. Replies. Shouldn't be a problem. It's the same name. Because it's saying replies is undefined. Replies. It's right here. All I can think of is that maybe when we set it, we're setting it as null. Replies. Our network tab. Just making sure these are named identically. They're the same. Yeah, I'm not seeing a problem here. This is being a bit silly. So, yeah, and these are set as an empty array. So what's its problem? We could do a console log here and try to figure that out. Console log replies props and do that props because it must be returning null. So if we go up here, undefined, 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 undefined. Okay, what is our problem here? Why is it undefined? It's given a set default value of this. Anyway, we're pretty close to getting this to work, but I'm going to stop the video here because I got to go eat. And we did solve quite a bit here, so I'll see you the next one, okay? Ciao.